everybody, it's Elisa here, and I have a fun project for us to do today, but I just wanted to mention a few things. We have recently released the pre-launch of polymerclayadventure.com, and this is going to be a year-long, all-inclusive with 22 different teachers teaching, and it's going to be a year-long virtual retreat. So no matter where you are in the world, you can attend. So go check that out at polymerclayadventure.com and see what it's all about. We've also gotten lots of new cutters in the shop and new molds, and this project's going to feature this new mold, and it's the wing mold. And it's really simple to do. I'll show you the other things I'm using in a sec, but really, you just need to condition your clay and mold the piece. So it's really easy to do. But we had a question from someone on our channel asking, how much clay do you start with to get, to knead or whatever? My answer to that is, depending on the project, obviously, if I'm working on something really big, I'm not going to pick a little small piece. But if I'm working on just like jewelry or something like that, I just tear off what I call a quadrant. And it's 1/4 of the bar if you're using Primo. And that's usually enough to get started. And how I do that is I'll roll out the clay to flatten it first. And then I'll either mush it in my hand or send it through my pasta machine multiple times. So that's how much I use to get started. So to answer that question. So if you guys ever have any questions, make sure to leave a message or a comment rather below. And we'll try to get to all of them. So let me just tell you a little bit about what I've got here. This is straight molded out of this mold, these earrings, but on the back, I've also added some texture, and it looks like words. Let's see if you can see that. So it looks like cursive words, and I thought, well, that really gave it a nice look on the back, and what I used for that was these Sculpey texture plates, but you can find rubber stamps and anything that gives it a nice texture and add that. But I really like the look of this, so that's what I used for the back of that, and I'll show you how that's done. And then to highlight all the raised areas, I used ink, pigment ink. And for this one, I actually used a blue pigment ink, and for this, I used a copper. And my base clay is black on these two pieces. So I started out with black and textured all my designs with the Dewdrop pigment ink. And the reason why I use the pigment ink is, number one, it's easy to use, easy to clean up, but it's a heat set ink, so when I fire my clay, it bonds to the clay permanently, which is a beautiful thing. And we're going to be using a couple cutters. This is actually one of the new cutters, and it comes in a set, I believe, of 4, and it's called the Kaleido Flower. And so I'm using this because I'm going to add texture to these flower pieces before, and then I'm going to use this to cut it out. So I like this design because it gives you a lot of extra texture that you wouldn't have just by cutting out this. So that's why I did that. And then I have this little glass flower that came from my mother's collection. And you can find these on eBay or Etsy or wherever. But you don't have to use a little glass flower. You can do whatever you want. But this is what I chose to do for this. And then, of course, I have my handy-dandy rod. And we actually sell these in blue, green, red, and purple. If you guys are interested in one of those, we have them in the shop. We took them out for a while. Just, I don't know why, but they're back in there. And a blade. And a poker. So let's get started. Let me move this out of the way. And I have some clay conditioned here. And this is just black clay. Now, it's hard to decide what exactly is going to be the right amount you need. So what I like to do is just start, like I said, with one of those quadrants. And I like to roll it into a snake when I'm working with a mold. And you just roll it on your work surface and get in like a snake. Now I notice this part up here is thicker, so I like to start there. It's wider rather. And then I kind of push it into the mold like this. As you can see, I have way more clay than I need. But I like to have more clay. It's easier than having to put more clay in there. So that I start with more. So what I do is I give it a nice push in there, and then I take my rod and I roll over, kind of flatten it. And you want to do it so that the clay doesn't pick up like that, because if it does, obviously your design is going to distort. So once you have it in there, you're not looking for perfection at this point. You want to start shaving off the extra clay. And obviously you don't need this much clay. So I just keep shaving it until it's flush with the design, with the mold. Now I saw there's an air pocket there, and I'll show you how to fix those. Okay, so the air pocket actually came out, which is a good thing. So I really just like to use my finger to do it. And if I notice that any area is a little lower than the others, you know, because you kind of want it to be consistent, you could go and add a little more clay like so. And then you just shave off the extra. So that's a great way so that to make sure that you get it all the same thickness, because you don't want one area too skinny, you know, one area thicker. It's just better to have it flush with the mold. So I just keep adding until I think I have it, and I blend in as I go, because you don't want it to look like a piece of clay just stuck on there. And you know, until you're happy with it, then you want to come back with your rod and gently roll over it, and this is going to take out those fingerprints and the marks that we just made and help you see if it needs any more clay. So that looks pretty good. I could use a little bit more here, so let's try a little more here. And this, you know, I'm working with a nice hot lamp, so the clay doesn't really need to be conditioned that much to get it in there. But if you need to condition your clay, then you go ahead and make sure it's conditioned properly. Okay, now I think that looks good. Now, what I like to do is like rub along the edges, so if there's any extra clay, it makes your cleanup easier. Because if you have all your details cleaned up before you pull it out of the mold, then you don't have to clean it up, which, hey, I'm all for less cleanup. So, okay, so let's see. I think that's the right side. So now I'm going to take this texture plate after I'm happy with the back, which I just got some pink clay in there, which that's not something I'm happy about. So let me just clean it up again. Okay, so there you have it. And then now I take this and I place my texture sheet there. And I don't usually use the rod with this because there's too much of a chance for it to slip. So I'm just using my fingers right now. And you want to give it a nice push so it gets a nice indent. And then you want to peel it back. And this wants to stick. But there it is out of the mold. Let me peel it away. So let's show you the back where it's got the texture of this texture plate. And here's the front where it's got the wing. Beautiful. Okay, so now let's give it a little color. And that, I'm going to do it silver this time. The last time, this one is copper. But, you know, you can do any color you want. It's totally up to you. This is your design. And with the silver, I don't really need a lot. I mean, this is probably more than I even need. But what I'm going to do is I'm rubbing it over the edges because I'm not looking to saturate the color. I'm just looking to highlight the texture of the mold. And if you find that you get a little more than you want, just use your finger and rub it. And it gives it that antique, patinaed look. And on the edges are always good. But I don't do a complete coverage. You see how I'm just kind of bringing it around like so. And then I want to come back on my back and do the same thing. And give it, you know, just a wash of color so that the front and the back match. And that's how simple it is to make these beautiful earrings. I mean, really, really, really simple. Not too much to it. Well, let me show you now. Here's the necklace. And as you can see, this is just 2 of these, 1 for each side. And then let's make the middle part now. Let me move these out of the way. I'll give this a little wipe up here. Okay, so again, we're going to do the black clay. And so you want to condition your clay again, which mine's fairly warm. Now, you don't want to go too thin on this piece because this is going to sit on top and there's chances that, you know, you're going to knock it into something or whatever. So you don't want it too thin so that it breaks. So I like the #1 thickness on the POS machine, which is the thickest setting. Or you could just roll it out to your own thickness. That's totally up to you. But I'm going to go with the #1. And there's that. So I am looking on this one to get the texture as well as the cut, although the cut really doesn't matter. It just helps me so that I can, you know, cut it out further. So I'm going to just place this straight down, and you would use it just like any other cookie cutter. And then you use your plunger, and you want to move it a little bit with your hands, making sure that it picks up all the design, making sure, you know, that it's nicely imprinted. Oops, I pulled that off. Hold on. Okay, let me put that back on so I can pop it out. And here we have it. You just peel it back, turn it around. Ooh, it's a warm day. I should have used the release, but it came undone. So there you have that. So now again, we'll add color to it, but first we're going to go and add these two flowers. Actually, I'm going to need two of those, but let's start with this one. And so let me sit it back here for 1 second so I can line it up a little. Okay, well, you get the gist. So then you take these are called the carnation cutter. So first we did the Kaleida flowers, printed that and cut it out. Now we're coming back with the carnation, and this is the medium size carnation. So you can do whatever you want, you know, whatever size makes you happy. And there I have that. Look at how pretty that is, just on its own. So that's the thing, you can embellish this any way you want. You know, you don't have to do like I'm doing. It's a totally a matter of preference. So I'm just giving you the idea so that you can go with it and go with the flow. Now that's the larger one, which is the one that's here on the bottom. So now I want to do a smaller one. Let me just kind of get this out of the way. Look at how pretty that is. I love that carnation cutter. It's so cute. All right, so now again, conditioning clay, and I didn't have enough, so I added a little more. So that's what I'm saying. As I go along, I just decide what I need for the amount of the clay. And with this one here, I want to do this again. Cut out another piece. So you're going to cut out two of these these Kaleido flowers. Okay, so you might as well start out by cutting out two of them. And use a release so that you don't have to keep popping your thing off like I'm doing here. I don't know, that's one thing I don't do as much as I should, is use a release, because I'm sitting here with high, hot lights, and I really should. Okay, but you get the gist of it anyway. So there's that. Clean it up if you need to. And then I'm going to go back with the smaller cutter. Cut that out. And you don't have to use this cutter, the Kaleido cutter rather. The Kaleido flower. You could use anything you want to add texture, but this is just something I did. Okay? And then you want to push out your little carnation. There you have it. If you have any edges you want to... I was thinking this is so pretty on its own. That would be a really pretty pendant. So I'm going to explore that at some point. But for now, this is what we're working on. So I have that. And I'm going to place this on top, kind of offset it. Now you can play with your petals. You can lift them up, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to add my ink. Actually, let me add some ink to this first layer first. See, now I'm taking a lot less, which is really what I want. You don't need that much. See how nice a coverage you get with that, with just that tiny little bit? I'm going to add this on top. This way I got a nice coverage underneath. And then just a little light dusting on your finger. Now you could use powdered pigments, you can use ink, you can use pan pastels, whatever it is you like. And there you have that. Okay, so next... here's this back again. I placed my little blue flower in the center, like so, and gave it a little push down. Now this little blue flower has a little center to it, because it's really actually a bead. So then I came back and I just took a little bit of clay and I rolled a little ball. And then I placed that right in the center. And what this enabled me to do is add a crystal in there, which... had I been thinking ahead, I would have had a crystal sitting here, but I don't have one at the moment that I can see. But this is how you would do it. You would take this extra clay, place it in there, and then you would just put your crystal right in there. Or, if you don't have a crystal, you can just add a little dot, or whatever it is that you want to do to add texture. And then, of course, if whenever you have any kind of clay, you want to also make it go together with the rest of it, so you add a little more ink on there. And there you have it. That's as simple as it is. Let me go ahead and mold one other wing so we can put it together and I can show you, you know, the full thing. So let me move this out of the way so it doesn't get messed up. So, you know, it seems like a lot of steps to do, but it really is easy. As you can see, it's nothing to worry about. Now I have to figure out, okay, so I already did this side, so now I need to do this side of the mold here. So again, I'm going to just roll it into a snake, start up in the top where it's thickest, and squish in my clay. So, like so. And then I can roll my rod over it, make sure it gets into all those crevices. Doing this lightly so I don't pick it up with the rod. And then I'm going to shave it once again. And you can do this in little pieces. You don't have to shave the whole thing all at once. You know, whatever works for you and whatever you're comfortable with, do it that way. Everybody has a different style of working, you know. So some people even don't even use a rod. Like I think it's Tori Hughes. She uses a glass to roll out her clay, like a drinking glass. And I guess that's the way she started, and she's always done it that way. I don't know, but you know, everybody has their way of working. So that's what makes the world go round. So there's that. And I want to texture the back with the same script I used on the other one. And once again, I'm going to do it with my hands. There you have that. So pretty. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So now I've got my two wings. And where's the other one? Here's the other one. Oh wait, I didn't ink this one yet. I made that little piece a little thin there, but once it gets fired, it'll be fine. And come back, highlight all the texture of the wing. If you get too much, kind of rub it with your finger. Make sure to do your edges, but like I said, you know, well, it's up to you. I don't like to saturate it. I like to just kind of give it a highlight. Just the way I like it. Okay, so now I have to figure out backwards, since we're sitting backwards to this, how it goes. Okay, so this goes this way. Like, no, that's not right. This goes this way, and this one goes this way. There you go. And so, let me just turn it around so you've got it. So here you have that. And now I'm going to place, I think I placed these closer together like so, so that they were more joined. And then I'm going to place this on top. And give it a little push down. And there you have it. I mean, it's that easy. And then I came back, I actually used a different texture on the back of this one, which was really cool. This is our Eco stamp. I used that to texture, that actually this one right here. That's the Eco stamp. It's in our shop. So you can use any texture you want. I mean, whatever it is that makes you happy, use that. But these are just some of the ones I had in my studio and that I like, and I think made it look really nice. So there you have it. If you want to put your holes in at the top, and I just added a jump ring to the hole, and then I strung it on this cord. You could put chain here, you could string it with beads, whatever it is you want, and whatever it is that makes you happy. So there you have it. Really, really cool set of jewelry, easy to make, lots of fun, and it doesn't take too many materials to get it made. And let me tell you, these would be awesome gifts. I mean, awesome gifts. So think about that, and come join us at polymerclayadventure.com and on the website at polymerclaytv.com. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us.